What's up, you guys? This is Devin with Century FX Studios, back with another video, and Happy New Year. I also want to say thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. I know 1K is like the smallest K you can get, but I'm appreciative of everybody who supports me, subscribes, and are ready to see the next video every time I upload. Yes, I've been going for a while, but I've been really busy, but that has given me a whole bunch of new creative ideas to bring to this channel. And let's get right into the topic today. Today we're going to be talking about this bag. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Canon shooter, but I am not sponsored by any company to make this video. I am not saying anything bad about Canon just because I'm sponsored. No, I am not sponsored by anybody, and I'm not saying this just to bash a company, but this bag was just a terrible experience for me. Now, the first thing you guys have to understand is you have to understand why I decided to change to a bag like this. Now, this is a really big photography bag for those of you who, I don't want to say really big, but it's up there. It's in the higher end class. Now, I've stripped all the little pockets and all the little dividers out of it just because I'm about to get rid of it, but it was just a bad experience for me. You have to understand why I'm getting this bag in the first place. Now, at this point in time in my photography career, I was using small bags from Low Pro, the ones that strap across your waist, the ones that strap across your shoulder, all these little small bags for like one little point and shoot camera, which was at the time, I believe, like a Nikon Coolpix. I had like a little Kodak 12 megapixel all digital point and shoot camera with a lens that didn't come off. So you understand what kind of bag that I had and what kind of setup I was using to put in that bag. Now, also understand that when you have these smaller and smaller cameras, you don't need that much space in your bag, so the bag doesn't get that much damage. It usually fits the camera right there and then. But when you start to move up into bigger bags, you need dividers for not only your camera bodies, but your camera lenses and all the other accessories like batteries and SD cards and anything else you might bring, like a tripod. I went from those smaller cameras and I upgraded to a DSLR, a digital single lens reflex camera, which was, I believe, the XS1 or the XSI or XTI, I believe. I think it was the XTI from Canon, and this had a CF card slot, but it was an interchangeable DSLR camera, which means you needed some lenses to go with it, which means your bag has to be bigger. So I was using that for a while, and I got like a Low Pro bag. It was like a little small one. I forgot what model it was. And then I started to understand that this bag wasn't working for me because of the size. Eventually, I had to get lenses that were bigger, and the size didn't work out. So I got a bigger size, and I thought, you know, I'm shooting with Canon, so I might as well get a Canon branded bag. Now, as you can see, for this specific Canon branded bag, you got these straps on the outside that look like little small bungee cords. You got the cinch on here. You got this front zip. And then you got this first compartment. It's a pretty basic structure for like a book bag, except it's designed for like small accessories. And then this part where I took out the pockets, it's designed to have like little dividers and little pockets for lenses to separate your lenses and camera bodies so they don't get smashed up. And it has some decently generous padding, so if you drop this bag, nothing get damaged inside. Okay, now you gotta understand what's so horrible about this bag, because that's why you clicked on this video, right? When you start using this bag, you start to hold it up here at the top. Now, yeah, it's open, but there's nothing in there, so don't worry about it. No lens is gonna fall out. So you start holding it up here at the top, and then eventually I start holding it up here at the top, and then you start to notice that seams start to come apart where the zipper is. And I think most people who will buy this bag typically grab it from the top. And the reason why you grab it from the top is because it's like a book bag. It opens and closes like a book bag where you put books and stuff like that for school. So you initially grab it from the top just in case the zipper is open. And so you have the zipper, zipper zips across like that, right? It zips across, and you hold it at the top just in case the zipper is open or it's slightly open or it has too much weight in it. Unzips. So you instinctively grab it from the top. All right, since you instinctively grab it from the top, you start to actually pull at some of the seams and some of the seam work near the actual zippers. And that starts to get on your nerves because eventually it's going to spring an actual hole in the bag near the top where you've been grabbing it at, depending on when you grab it and how you grab it. But most people don't even pay attention to how they grab a book bag. Nobody pays attention to how they're grabbing the book bag. So when they grab it, they just pull at certain seams. Some parts of the seam might be weaker or stronger depending on what you have in this bag. Considering the size of this bag, it was made for other types of lenses like your 70 to 200s, your 24 to 70s, your 24 to 105s, these big L lenses, big glasses for full frame bodies. But it also is designed for, your body, which is relatively smaller than your lenses. You have to understand that these lenses are also pretty heavy. So when you start to put lenses in here, even if it's just 170 to 200 in one body, depending on how you put that 70 to 200 in here, it might weigh on one side of the bag more than the other because nothing actually balances this bag out, especially when it comes to the zipper. Yeah, you have two zippers, but if you zip both of them at the top here, zip one side at the top and the other side at the top, it becomes at the top of the bag, which means if you have too much weight, it'll start to unzip itself by itself. And then if you zip it all the way to one side, if you have too much weight on that one side will actually start to unzip itself again. And so I ended up talking to a guy on Craigslist or another photographer in a used market. And I was talking to him about this bag, and he was saying, oh yeah, I love that bag. But what you gotta understand is you gotta get like carabiner clips for this bag to understand that the zippers are gonna move regardless of what you put in there. And then also, if you're like a run and gun shooter, somebody that's shooting in a parade, somebody shooting sports, where you gotta move and you don't really put your bag down or take it off, and you use it like a book bag like you're supposed to, then you gotta understand those lenses and those cameras and whatever else is in your bag is gonna be jostling around. That jostling around then tries to open up the bag from the top. So I'm gonna get into a story and it's gonna make you cringe as a pro photographer or even an amateur. So you get into these jobs that are passion projects that more so network than give you money, or may not even give you any money. So I was doing pretty much a passion project for a friend, or it was just more of like a free job for a friend. She comes up to me, she says, I need some pictures of my graduates when they go across the stage. And so I was like, oh, we're in a stage type of environment. She was like, can you just do me that favor? And I was like, oh, okay. Now, a lot of people get mad at me that are pros and say, Devin, you shouldn't be bringing nothing expensive on those types of jobs. But I wanted to give her a quality product. A lot of things when you're in low light situations and you can't flash is based off of how much light your lens lets in. So I decided to bring a 70 to 200 2.8, and yes, lo and behold, I was carrying it in this bag. So the way I would shoot the event, I'm in an auditorium, I would shoot the 70 to 200 angles, when they were coming across the stage doing whatever they wanted to. But when they needed to take the standing picture holding the diploma, of course I got closer, got my flash on, and then flashed them because they were prepared for the actual image. They weren't prepared for the image as we were going across the stage, but I digress. I did the best I could by myself. 70 to 200 is in this bag. The 70 to 200 is on one side, like I told you before. I had the thing zipped down, of course. I had the 70 to 200 in there, zipped down nice and tight. I did not have the little carabiner clips to tie the zippers together, and lo and behold, on one side where the 70 to 200 was sitting over here in one of the little pocket dividers, the 70 to 200, as I was moving across the room and trying to capture the moment, I was moving, the bag slowly unzips itself on this lower pocket, just enough for the 70 to 200 to slide down out of the bag and roll down the actual auditorium floor. Most auditorium floors are at a slope, so I'm at the top of the auditorium, and just imagine a $2,000 lens rolling down after falling face first, rolling down at a free non-paid event. This was like almost 6 years ago. And even though the lens itself wasn't visibly damaged at the time and I could still operate it, the actual filter broke. So that's a big shout out to I think it was a Tiffin filter that was on there. Tiffin filter took all the damage, no damage to the front element, but I think there was some damage, or I know there was some damage that kind of went on inside of the lens. It was an older lens. It had to have been about like 7 to 10 years old at the time. And so some of the rubber bushings that keep it from making that noise and plastic bits inside of the lens that dampen the L lens to keep it from making noise while you're zooming in and zooming out, they kind of got jostled and thrown out of place, and the lens kind of got off sync and off center, so the focus is a little bit dodgy, and there goes a $2,000, $3,000 lens. Just because, wasn't my fault personally, just because this bag wasn't comparable enough to hold it. Mind you, I had already had my camera in my hands with a 24-105 on it, while the 7200 was it's practically in here by itself with the 50mm prime lens. There was no weight really in this bag. The only thing is I was moving around, so it was jumping up and down, micro adjustment, micro movements in the bag. It just slides down, next thing you know, bing, and rolling. I can't tell you how bad I felt, my heart going to my feet. I'm Devin with CFXTV Studios, and yes, I am not sponsored by any of these companies. This is just stuff that I bought out of my own money. If that, it was a gift, and I just want to give you my honest opinion so you don't make the wrong decision when you go to buy a camera bag, camera, or any other type of product. Stay tuned for the next video.